Hi, this is Christian, and welcome back to NFL Updates Express, your weekly dose of NFL news. Coming your way, the special Super Bowl 56 episode. This is not a drill. No, you're not dreaming. The Cincinnati Bengals are champions of the AFC for the first time in 33 years. First, it was the Cincinnati Bearcats making a stunning run to the college football playoff, and now this? What is going on in Ohio? Now, if you love to root for an underdog story, look no further than the boys in orange and black. This is about as close to a Cinderella run as you will ever see in the NFL. Just last season, the Bengals were a paltry 4-11-1 record-wise and still look to be a couple of years from being a serious contender. It was clear that Cincinnati had made the right pick with their star quarterback Joe Burrow as the number 1 overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. However, with a porous offensive line, the Heisman Trophy winner suffered a season-ending knee injury in Week 11 of the 2020 season, casting doubt on if the Bengals would ever be able to put an adequate supporting cast around their signal caller. That's where wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase comes in. Chase, who was Burrow's top target during their historic 2019 season at LSU, has blossomed into a top 10 receiver in the pros. Now, with all the hype behind stud quarterbacks in the AFC like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert, it's Burrow who rose to the occasion in his first fully healthy season as a starter. His unusual composure under pressure has helped Cincinnati end their 3-decade run of playoff futility. 0-7 in playoff games? Not anymore. After taking down the number 1 seed Titans in Nashville, the Bengals stormed back from down 18 points in the AFC Championship game to stun the Kansas City Chiefs in overtime. Now, even the most optimistic Bengals fan couldn't have imagined a Super Bowl run or even winning the AFC North Division this year. Now, does Cincy have a little more magic in them to stun the nation and capture the franchise's first Lombardi? The NFC's representative for Super Bowl 56 is the greatest show on turf, the Los Angeles Rams. Now, long gone are the days with Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner manning the show 2 decades ago, but now Matthew Stafford has done his very best to bring LA back to the glory days. The Rams were recently in the Super Bowl just 3 years ago with Jared Goff at the helm, but lost in an ugly game to the New England Patriots by the score of 13-3. Now head coach Sean McVay and company will be looking for redemption, playing the Super Bowl in their home stadium of SoFi. What more could you ask for? LA started the season in 2021 with a 7-1 record before losing 3 straight games. Since then, they've only had one hiccup, a Week 18 overtime loss to their division rival, the San Francisco 49ers. Now, most people expected LA to be in the Super Bowl mix in 2021, and they have delivered up to this point. With a top 10 quarterback in Matthew Stafford, a top 3 receiver in Cooper Kupp, and 3 of the league's greatest defenders, Jalen Ramsey, their cornerback, Aaron Donald, a 3-time Player of the Year, and Von Miller, the Super Bowl 50 MVP, there is not much room for error on the opposing sideline. Now, with all this talent that the Rams have acquired, can they write a true Hollywood ending and give the franchise its first Lombardi since the 1999 season? It's Who Day versus LA. The 56th installment of the biggest game in American sports is here, as the NFC's representative, the Los Angeles Rams, take on the AFC's representative, the Cincinnati Bengals, for the right to hoist the Lombardi Trophy. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it still feels pretty weird to see the Bengals and Super Bowl in the same sentence, but yet, here they are. Led by quarterback Joe Burrow, he's brought a new vibe to Cincinnati and has helped completely change the culture almost overnight. It's not just the quarterback position that has improved, but an overall roster overhaul, which has now paid dividends much earlier than expected. On offense, the Bengals have a trio of dynamic receivers. Most notably, rookie Ja'Marr Chase has exploded onto the scene, posting 81 receptions for 1,455 yards and 13 touchdowns this year. With his solid speed and ability to win jump balls in the end zone, the Rams will have their hands full with the former LSU star. Second-year pro out of Clemson, T. Higgins isn't too shabby himself, posting an 1,000-yard season, and veteran Tyler Boyd has been crucial in the slot in providing yet another option for Burrow. Their starting tight end, C.J. Uzomah, was seen in crutches during the second half of the AFC Championship, which means that Boyd and Higgins may be counted on even more. Finally, running back Joe Mixon posted a career-best season, reaching pay dirt 13 times and rushing for over 1,200 yards. Defensively for Cincinnati, look for defensive ends Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard. Hendrickson quietly racked up 14 sacks this year, while Hubbard has been a steady contributor on the team since being drafted in the third round in 2018. In the secondary, the Bengals have a top-flight safety in Jesse Bates III out of Wake Forest. He'll be very important to not let the Rams receivers break through in the key moments. Now, speaking of the Rams receivers, they have an explosive trio that will cause all sorts of trouble. Receiver Robert Woods tore his ACL in a mid-November practice, but star receiver Odell Beckham Jr., OBJ, has picked up the slack. After a few mediocre years in Cleveland, he looks to be back in form once again. Now, he won't quite have all the spotlight as he did with the New York Giants, as there is an even bigger threat that will be on the field with him. His name is Cooper Kupp. As previously mentioned, Kupp accomplished the rare Triple Crown, illustrating how dominant he's looked all season long. Finally, Van Jefferson is fully capable of taking the top off of the Bengals as well, and must be accounted for. Now, who will be throwing them the ball? That would be veteran Matthew Stafford. He has been a fantastic quarterback for the majority of his career, but was hindered by the ineptitude that is the Detroit Lions franchise. Sorry, Lions fans. Maybe you'll make a Super Bowl one day. After being 0-3 in the playoffs throughout his career, Stafford and company powered through Kyler Murray, Tom Brady, and Jimmy Garoppolo this postseason to get to the big game. Now, this game is very huge for Stafford's legacy and Hall of Fame chances, and undoubtedly, he'll be well prepared to win in his biggest moment of his prolific career. Now, how did the Rams win this game? It's pretty simple. The biggest weakness for the Bengals is clearly their offensive line. In the divisional round contest against the number 1 seeded Tennessee Titans, Burrow was sacked an astonishing 9 times. Now, it's almost a given that Cincinnati's offensive line will be unable to hold up against the Rams' ferocious pass rush tandem. LA's defense sports 3-time Defensive Player of the Year Aaron Donald and Super Bowl 50 MVP Von Miller. With that said, it will be up to Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan to scheme quick passes to avoid getting sacked. Offensively, for the Rams, just get the ball to Cooper Kupp. Don't overthink it. Kupp is going to win the majority of his battles, and so the Bengals have to limit the damage and not let him go beast mode. On the flip side, the Bengals need to find a way to move the ball if Jamar Chase is locked down. Jalen Ramsey on the Rams has been one of the best quarterbacks in football since entering the league, and the question will be, can he stop Chase from taking over the game? Now, if Ramsey wins the battle at cornerback, can Joe Burrow shift his focus to his other receivers, T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, in the passing game? Now, Cincinnati likely won't have much success rushing the football, as the Rams are top 5 in the league at stopping the run, which are around 95.8 rushing yards per game. And Joe Mixon and backup Samaje Perine are obviously capable backs, but I doubt it will be their focus in this one to rush the ball. Expect a quick strike passing attack from Burrow instead. Now, when the dust settles, who will emerge victorious and win Super Bowl 56? Will it be a Ram redemption, or will it be a Bengal breakthrough? In my eyes, this game could go either way. Now, the Bengals haven't performed well in the first half of games this year, so expect Los Angeles to get out to an early lead. However, that doesn't mean that all hope is lost for the Bengals. All the hype is around Los Angeles' vaunted defense, and rightfully so. However, I think it will be the unheralded stars on Cincinnati's defense that will make adjustments in the second half and make the game interesting, similar to how the Chiefs game went. Now, ultimately, I think the Los Angeles Rams are the better team in this matchup overall. But the better team doesn't always win the Super Bowl. I expect a semi-low-scoring game, which means that one mistake could very well be the difference. Now, in a classic game, I project that Stafford will throw a costly interception in the fourth quarter, setting up the Bengals to have the ball last with the game tied at 20. Joe Burrow, who reminds me a lot of a more athletic Tom Brady, will set up kicker Evan McPherson, who has been clutch all playoffs long, for a game-winning field goal attempt. Head coach Sean McVay of the Rams will try and ice McPherson. And similar to the Patriots, New England Patriots' first Super Bowl against Kurt Warner and the Rams in 2001, Joe Burrow will become that guy and help complete the Cinderella run for Cincinnati as time expires, and finally end the Bengals' title drought once and for all. At long last, the Bungles no more. Cincinnati Bengals 23, Los Angeles Rams 20. It's time for my favorite Super Bowl segment, the X Factor. Now, which player will need to step up on Super Sunday? Let's find out. The first X Factor on my list is one of the most underrated pass rushers in the NFL. The fifth-year pro has been a late bloomer as far as production and opportunities go. Now, 27.5 of his 34 career sacks have come in the last 2 seasons. And he didn't become a full-time starter until 2020 with the Saints, where he racked up 13.5 sacks and followed it up this year with 14. Now, Trey Hendrickson has his biggest task yet of getting by the likes of former Bengal and 4-time Pro Bowler Andrew Whitworth at left tackle. If he can cause havoc in the pocket on Stafford and speed up his progressions a little bit, it should help the Bengals secondary hold up for 4 quarters and also help the other Bengal pass rushers feast. The second X Factor is another pass rusher, but one you may not expect. With Von Miller and Aaron Donald on the Rams likely commanding most of the attention for the Bengals' offensive line, I believe that Floyd, who has 9.5 sacks on the year, could burst onto the scene and make life miserable for Burrow's offense. There's only so much scheming you can do to stop the pressure, and having not 1, not 2, but 3 capable defenders that can get to the passer may give LA a huge advantage. It's no secret that Jamar Chase is a beast, but let's give some love to the other 2 Bengals receivers that have made plays all season long. Boyd, the longest tenured receiver on the Cincinnati Bengals, has been very consistent in the slot position. He's had 1,000-yard seasons in 2 out of the last 4, and has had a knack for finding the end zone. As the third option in the passing game in 2021, his numbers are down slightly, but he has a touchdown in 4 out of the last 6 games, picking up a little bit of momentum. Don't be surprised to maybe see him score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, T. Higgins has great ability to high point the ball with his lengthy frame. After a 1-catch dud in the wild card round, the Clemson product has posted a combined 13 catches for 199 yards in the last 2 weeks. With superstar corner Jalen Ramsey covering Jamar Chase, it will be up to Boyd and Higgins to deliver the goods. The last X Factor is Cam Akers, the second-year pro out of FSU. Now, first of all, what a remarkable return for Akers, who tore his Achilles tendon in July. Now he's somehow returned for the playoffs and has helped add another dynamic dimension to the Rams' already potent offense. Now, the one issue for Akers is a tendency to put the ball on the ground. Against Tampa Bay, he fumbled twice in key situations, which nearly cost Los Angeles the game. It will be important for Akers and his running mate Sony Michel to take advantage of a Cincinnati defense that allows an average of 127 yards per game on the ground throughout the playoffs. If the Rams reach or eclipse that average allowed, it's almost certain that the Lombardi will be theirs.
I'm a beast, yeah. I'm a dog, yeah. I'm a flex, huh? I'm a ball, yeah. I'm a stunt mode, baby. I'm a stunt mode. Young and evil. I'm a stunt bro. On this drip drop, they ain't able. All this sauce on me, need a ladle. I'm a stunt mode, baby. I'm in stunt mode. Jackie Chan on me, pull a stunt so, yeah.